Good morning, Laredo. I'm Jesus Chugasa, your host of 24/7 Laredo Talk Show. It's an original, free, and independent news channel that talks about the issues affecting Laredo and surrounding areas. Today, we have a very good friend of ours who's on the show today, Patricia Barreras, who's actually was the former Webb County tax assessor and now vying for the same position that she had before. And as you're going through, please press the like button so we can make sure that you keep watching this type of videos on a weekly basis. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting
Good.
me.
Well, thank you for making it. Now, I mean, how is your quarantine period, the last 40 to 50
Very
days?
dull. It's been very dull. Actually, I stayed home for the first week, and after that, we reopened our office. We've been working and, seeing people, taxpayers, and helping them with their card titles, renewals, stuff like that. So
So,
we've been
but
working.
basically, you stayed home for the most part, right? Like everybody else.
Well, once we close, yes, you'd have to go home, and you can be outside.
Yeah, you
It
can
was
be
the
outside.
yeah.
It was kind of, it's incredible to believe that we actually lived through it and we're still living through it, but not as harsh as it was 30 days ago. It was a real surprise. Now, with all this that's going on now, Patricia, you being in the political process, especially because you're running in July, do you see a transitioning or something's going on politically out there right now?
Well, it got very quiet. Nobody was really interested in politics. Everybody was just trying to stay healthy. Uh, During the quarantine, a lot of people literally stayed inside the house, never left. So it was very difficult to politicize, during that period. So we did a little bit, but more than anything, we concentrated on getting people who are afraid to go out to vote because of
Well,
their
there's still a lot
age
of
or their health.
Patricia, there's still a lot of people like that. I mean, we had
Oh yeah.
on the last couple of days, Laredo has been hitting 15, 20, 26 even a few days ago. We had the highest number of coronavirus cases this week alone. So we're not out just
No.
because we don't have the curfew as much as it was before.
Yeah.
It is bad out there.
No, I agree. And so we've been registering people so that are over 65 that qualify to get the ballot at home. We've been working on that. So and others that would want to vote but weren't registered. So we were working on that, you know, quietly but doing it. And I was very encouraged because I don't know if you got a flyer from Don West. He is running against John Cornyn under the Democrat Party
Right.
for the senator, and he sent a flyer to a friend, one of my friends' home, and in the flyer they had a little like a postcard, and in that postcard you could sign it, and it already was addressed to Deis's office, the elections administrator's office, and she mailed it out because she was thinking she had to go and vote in person, and now she's going to be able to get. So I don't know how many Laredoans or people in Webb County under the Democrat Party were also got that.
Right.
So I do encourage anybody who got that postcard and saw the face of a black guy. Uh, he's the candidate for U.S. Senator against John Cornyn. Open it up, and there's a little postcard, and just sign your name and check out that you live what your address is, and if it's the same, you just do a check on that,
Right.
and that you want to get the ballot for the runoffs, the Democrat Party runoff, and you want for November, and you'll get the ballot. So I was very encouraged with that because they're reaching people I couldn't reach. So I'm
Right,
grateful.
exactly. You know, it just seems to me that the logic that by the Supreme Court not allowing people to do mail-in ballots during the elections, it just didn't make sense. I mean, we have a pandemic. People are afraid of getting sick. People are still getting sick. People are still dying,
I agree.
and they are actually endangering the lives of so many people across the state of Texas by forcing them to have to go vote personally.
Yeah.
And it just
Today I had a young lady come to my office and helped her out with getting a, a a release of lien, doing the forms and all that. But she is she's not over 65. She's in her mid 50s, but has a lot of health issues with her immune system and all that. So we told her she does not qualify to get a mail-in ballot. That's the unfortunate side, because there are people who either had cancer, their immune system is low, and
Right.
I think they should be allowed to vote at home. That they didn't allow them to be able to, I have another lady told me I have lupus, and it
That
just comes and that can, your immune
definitely.
system is low. So all of that, those people should have been allowed to vote at home. So
That's
we
right.
did tell her that here in Laredo and Webb County, I don't know other counties, but during the early voting, they'll have somebody outside. So you don't have to get down. So we told her that she could go and where she could go and do the early voting, and that she just stays in the car, and somebody like a valet, they come
Right.
and they ask you, what do you need? And they'll run everything in for you and bring you the ballot. The judge will come out. I imagine that's how they would do it. And so that's going to help a lot of people, that you're
Definitely.
not going to
Definitely.
have, you're not going to go and sit down where somebody already sat down and you don't know if they cleaned it well, and there's a lot of issues, for
They are,
people
and it's
that,
just
and they're afraid. They are afraid
afraid,
and
and
yet want to
genuinely
vote.
afraid. And I
There's,
understand, and people, the court, I think, was a bad ruling, and I think that they're going to regret this because they're going to find a lot of people getting sick right after the election.
yeah,
But we're going to be right back, and we still have a lot more to talk to Patricia Barrera. We're
thank
going
you.
to take a short break, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk about why she's running for office. Welcome back to the show. We're talking to Patricia Barrera, one of the two persons who's vying for the Webb County Tax Assessor's Office that's up for election on a runoff for July. Patricia, welcome to the show. When's the
Thank you.
big day for the
Well,
election?
election day is Tuesday, July the 14th. Early voting begins Monday, June the 29th, and it goes all the way to Friday, July the 10th. So it's going to be 2 weeks of early
2 weeks,
voting.
like if it was
Yeah,
a regular election. And I think that's what the court did. The court tried to find an excuse not to give more people voting vote by
by
mail. So
mail.
they decided to just give an extra week for early voting.
Exactly. Because
Patricia,
it
for
was
many
destined to
people,
just 1 week. And so they
right,
added another week. Correct.
exactly.
Yeah.
Patricia, I think most people know who you are and the type of work that you do, but there's still a lot of new people in town, or people
Right.
who've never voted before, or probably never paid taxes before, so they didn't have a reason to go.
Hmm.
Could you tell them a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I come from my parents had a mom and pop store, which grew up to 6 stores. Since before I was in school, I was working in the store because
This was
there was
before
no babysitter.
HEB. This was before HEB.
Before, well, there was an HEB, there was one, but most small grocery stores had no drive-in. You couldn't drive your car and get down. My dad, I think, was one of the first that did that, and the business grew because they were very conscious of the taxpayer, or in this case, the customer. And my dad had a slogan called "No waiting in long lines." So that was like in my brain since I was a little kid. And so I worked at the store. My dad gave me the worst store he had, which was on Sanchez and San Bernardo in front of La Reinera. And at that time, if you grossed $20,000 a year, you were making a profit. Okay. And I asked my dad, give me a chance. Let me prove that I can do it. And he did. He gave me the worst store he had. He said, I can't lose any more than I'm already losing. So he gave me the store. I gave it an uplift, put air conditioning in the place. I just remodeled the place. And I got that store in August. By December, we had surpassed $20,000. So I learned by the side of my dad and my mom how to work. And and everybody thought it was a new ownership. And really it wasn't. It was just me, the new manager of the place.
It seems to me that you were a self-made business person since your teenage years.
Well, I learned a lot at the side of my mom. She was a sales lady before she was married and was a top saleswoman in her era. And my dad was a hard worker, a perfectionist. So he wanted excellence. You can never be perfect, but you can strive to do the very best. And that was his philosophy, and always thinking ahead of how to do things better. And once I got into the tax office, I think we did that. Remember that in 2003 and then 2007, we had the swine flu, we had some other flus.
Right.
People were dying in Laredo, had really bad cases. Well, when we remodeled the tax office, the counters before, since the Justice Center was built, they were open space. You had an open space between the taxpayer and the employee. When we remodeled, I asked for them to put glass. So it was before it was in fashion. Now you go to HEB, you go anywhere, and you cannot get to that cashier without there being a plexiglass. So that office was really geared for even this epidemic. We had hand sanitizers in every station. We had them outside. We had masks. We had gloves for our employees because we realized we had young mothers. A lot of my employees were women and they were mothers, and I didn't want them getting sick and then taking it home to their children or their family. So I do not understand, Judge, why that office is not open today. It is perfect for this type of situation to keep you healthy, and
Right.
a matter of just getting all the gloves and the mask for the employees, especially the one directing traffic outside. I don't understand why they're closed. And people are frustrated. And
Well, the county's lost a lot of money. I mean, by having those doors
Of
closed,
course.
they haven't been able to collect taxes and do their business.
That's right.
And, and that's part of the reason why the county's in a hole financially.
That's right. And the accountability's not there. I've heard stories of people losing their money because you either have to have a check, and most people don't have checking accounts. So everything's been in money orders. And, people can be the best people, but if they're in a financial situation, money is dangerous, especially when, it's a money order.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting out money and leaving the money order there. So that's a situation that I think is very serious. The accountability is not there.
Well, it seems, Patricia, that there's certainly so many issues out there that we need to talk about. We're running out of time. One last question, though, is what's your Facebook page? Where can they reach you?
It's Patricia A. Barrera, FOR, taxassessorcollector.com.
Okay, well, then they can reach you there. They want to help out or get more information.
Yes.
And the election day is on July the...
Election is on Tuesday, July the 14th. Early voting begins on Monday, June the 29th, all the way to July the 10th, which is on a Friday. So it's 2 full weeks.
Wow, that's certainly, we're going to certainly bring you back again and get the rest of those questions answered. There's a lot of them. So I want to thank you again for being here. Again, as for the rest of you, thank you for watching the show. We'll be seeing you again next week, and we'll be bringing a new guest next week, next Monday or Tuesday. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.